let's get to the transfer portal because there are a lot of people moving around, and this is absolutely one of the most important months in building a program. And I don't think that that's completely settled in with fans yet, but you could potentially lose coaches. I wrote about Tim Banks. He's flirting with MTSU, and I don't blame him. I don't think that being the defensive coordinator for Josh Heupel is fun whatsoever. But there's also the transfer portal, and there's a whole lot of news about that. Let's start with Walter Nolen. He has entered the transfer portal. We had that on Off the Hook Sports last night. Thank you, Caleb Giroux. Walter Nolen is from Memphis. So Memphis, as Caleb will tell you, is almost like it's outside of Tennessee. I mean, it's as much Arkansas, Mississippi, and I mean, it's just really mixed. It's not like Knoxville.
If Ole Miss had a powerhouse program, they would get more Memphis kids than Tennessee.
Yes. Okay. Great way to put it. So it's just because he went to Powell High School and I went to Powell High School doesn't mean that he's coming back to Tennessee. But the fact that he enters the portal is, let me ask you this, very newsworthy, somewhat newsworthy, not newsworthy. And this portion of the program brought to you by Don Self, State Farm. Customer service still matters. State Farm agent Don Self and his team take customer service seriously. For well over 40 years, they've built their business and reputation on taking care of their customers in College, Dell, and Ooltewah, as well as the greater Chattanooga area. DonSelf.net. DonSelf.net. So this is very newsy, somewhat newsy, or not newsy that Walter Nolen has entered the transfer portal.
Can I double the very newsy? Can I make it 8,000, 1,700 something, a gazillion % newsworthy? I just made up a number. It is insanely newsworthy. Look, everybody knew that was covering Walter Nolen's recruitment, that it was down to Tennessee and Texas A&M. And Tennessee was the favorite to land him until 3 days before, and then he goes to Texas A&M. And everybody in the world knew that NIL got him to go to Texas A&M. And
I'm not questioning your reporting at all, but I was told Tennessee never felt good about getting Nolen from within their
really
program. Yeah, and I don't know if that's because of NIL. Maybe we're saying the same thing in different ways. I was
that's
told
possible.
They didn't feel good about it.
For the up until the last week, every crystal ball had him going to Tennessee pretty much for the longest.
I think it was
time.
because the kid didn't talk, and that was the natural guess. But I didn't think he was ever coming to Tennessee ever.
Well, let's think about this now. Tennessee's got some influx on the defensive line. Amari Thomas might be gone. Elijah Simmons just hasn't panned out. Actually, he could technically be gone too. And I think if Walter Nolen went to Tennessee, even if those guys were back, he'd immediately be the starter. He'd be the best defensive tackle on the team, bar none. Guys, he had 8.5 tackles for loss and 4 sacks this year as a sophomore defensive tackle. That's really impressive. I mean, we're talking, when you talk rare talent, you're talking John Henderson in college right now. You're talking that level of a defensive tackle. So I think you could get him. And 2, I'm just going to say this. You open up the checkbook to get him. That's a player you open up the checkbook for. Those who don't know, it's not as well known, but an interior 1 elite defensive tackle is the most underrated weapon you can have on a team that can totally alter your entire defense if they're that good.
That's what happened in the SEC championship game.
That's exactly
Alabama's defensive tackles were that good, where Georgia had to try unique plays and toss sweeps to try to get first downs and short yardage, and they couldn't do it. On the flip side, Alabama was able to run it straight up the gut. But yeah, I think it could change Tennessee's program. The thing that I like about it is it's a timing thing. So you went and got Dante Thornton from Oregon, who wasn't even a starter until somebody got hurt. He had 220-something yards receiving, not a lot of production. And that's a program that's up. So if they want to keep him, they probably could. But A&M is going through a transition, and it's a player who seems like his best days are ahead of him. So while I like the McAllen Castles version of going to a small school and bringing him to a big school, this kind of checks both boxes a little bit. It kind of checks the box of unproven school, not smaller school, because A&M's got all the cash in the world, but it checks the box of unproven school. You can win at a higher level. You can play right away. It really checks all the boxes to make sense. Do I think Nolen will come to Tennessee? I have no idea, but it checks all the box where he should.
Yeah, it does. And there is, look, transferring from big schools, because Nolen's not transferring because he wasn't playing. I just gave y'all his stats. He's playing. He's transferring because Jimbo Fisher's fired. And so that's different from Dante Thornton transferring, where he wasn't playing at Oregon. Now, Tennessee offered, I want to point this out because we're sticking with the trenches, which you and I both agree, the biggest question for Tennessee next year is if they can shore up the trenches, right? Mm-hmm. And so Tennessee's offered a Texas A&M transfer offensive lineman, Remington Strickland, who was 6'4", 300 pounds. He played in 7 games this year and was just a sophomore. Now, was he transferring because he wasn't getting a starting job at A&M and he wasn't able to make it, or is he also transferring because of Fisher? That one's more up in the air. You don't really know how that's going to shake out. I can tell you 100% if he stays healthy, Walter Nolen will be a starter next year. I can just tell you that up front. Walter Nolen would be a star at Tennessee's defensive line, unless he just got the money and said, I don't care anymore. But he's not going to be that stupid. He wants NFL money too. So he's going to put everything into being good. I can't imagine too many college kids, even in the age of NIL, that say, I got my NIL money. I'm no longer going to work hard. Well, you could still make it to the NFL. That's still a factor.
I think he could. I think he could have a stupendous couple of years at Tennessee, or even 1 year, because he would be eligible to go to the NFL draft. I mean, I think he's that good. And it's interesting you bring up John Henderson, because John was kind of because of the Prop 48 year, was kind of a slow developer, and I think that's what you're seeing out of Walter Nolen. Portions of the program brought to you by Sports Treasures, carrying over 5 million sports treasures and so much more. Follow on Facebook for the best sports memorabilia daily updates. So go to facebook.com, Sports Treasures TN. You'll get those daily updates. We love them. And ask about Will Shepard, Vanderbilt receiver, entering the portal. What do you think about Will? I'd take him like tomorrow.
Do you think Tennessee's struggling at receiver right now? I mean, I will say Will Shepard's another wideout. He's 6'3", 190. I think Will Shepard could offset Ramel Keaton, which is going to be a tough guy to replace. Like, with Ramel Keaton's being hurt this year, really hurt the passing game. You want that possession, reliable receiver on the other side at wideout. And I think
you also don't know if you're getting Brew McCoy back. I mean, I think he's coming back. I've been led to believe he's coming back, but he went through senior day.
Brew McCoy's not your possession wideout receiver. He's your dictate coverage wideout. You still need somebody on the other
side. But you're getting to the point with Nimrod and Webb. You just need to have playmakers.
Yeah, but if Brew McCoy's the playmaker, you still need the possession guy on the other side. Nimrod and Webb haven't even proven they can be the possession guy yet. They haven't proven they're reliable with their hands or anything like that.
Brother, I'm taking him. I mean, you don't have to convince me. Whichever role he wants to play, he can come play. I would definitely take him. And then the other guys that we want to keep an eye on in the transfer portal are guys that could potentially leave Tennessee: Brandon Turnage, Jack Luttrel, Mo Clipper Jr.
All 3 of them hit the portal.
Yeah, I'm not really sure who Mo Clipper Jr. is.
I think this is a good sign for Tennessee. That I remember when Mo Clipper committed to Tennessee with Messiah Reddick and a lot of those guys, a bunch of 3-star linemen when Hyper was just desperate to fill some bodies up front. But I think this could be that they're building up depth with Mo Clipper and offensive lineman. And the Brandon Turnage was a nickel. He started in place of a hurt Theo Jackson in 2021, Dave, and won SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Never saw him again. I guess he just never, I guess when other guys came around, he was never able to take that next step. So seems like a good guy, but just didn't seem like he was cut out for Tennessee.
Good guy. I mean, if he was delivering your mail, it would always be on time. Jack Luttrell, Mo Clipper Jr., I think are clearly signs that Tennessee has said you might be better served going elsewhere, and Tennessee's roster will be better with the players they bring in. Turnage, I'm 70-30 the same way. I feel the same way. I think Tennessee can bring in a better defensive back. But boy, I got to see it. I got to see them develop some defensive backs because right now they're either all really bad that they're bringing in or they're not developing, and either one's a problem,
I think
right?
Tennessee is looking for life champions who have 5-star hearts.
Awful. All right, Vols offer A&M transfer offensive lineman Remington Strickland, who sounds like
Yeah,
he's
I
going to
mentioned
play.
him.
Yeah, you got him in there. Okay, he's going to play.
Yeah, I did.
He's going to play James Bond one day, like Remington Steele.
That's a great name for a lineman, though, right?
Did you get that reference? Pierce Brosnan, Remington Steele, then played James Bond. Did anybody get that? Caleb's too darn young.
I am young. I'm a young guy.
And then Willie Martinez has not entered the transfer portal yet.
But for the record, he's being sarcastic. That is the defensive backs coach. So, but Willie Martinez was a Butch Jones assistant, so he probably believes in 5-star hearts.
I believe in 5-star hearts, but you've got to be 5-star talented as well. I think that the signs of the guys like Luttrel and Clipper to somewhat Turnage are a sign that those meetings are happening right now, that you can go ahead and enter the portal. And by the way, December the 4th is the day that I think you can start signing people, right, for the portal, which is
today.
Yeah. So you might see a lot of this thing shake out pretty quick. So be sure and check out offthehooksports.com throughout the day to get the very latest on the transfer portal, because there will be some movement. I don't know that Walter Nolen's going to move anytime fast, because I think you'll have a lot of suitors, probably 12 or so, I've been told. But these other guys like Luttrel, Turnage, and Clipper, I would encourage them to go ahead and go where you need to go, whether that's a lower level school or whatever that may be the case. But to get more playing time, go, because those spots are going to fill up pretty quick, Caleb.
Yeah, totally agree. So that's why. But also, yeah, if you're Tennessee, Walter Nolen's going to have a spot wherever he wants to go. Open the checkbook, give him all the money in the world. I mean, this is a guy you open everything for. Red carpet.
Yep. The show represented by Banks and Jones. Play to win. Tennessee's trial attorney. He'll go to trial. Others won't. Also want to thank Tennessee Cider Company, the original hard cider of the Smoky Mountains. Use the promo code HAT, that's HAT, to receive some free swag with your cider order. Available most anywhere in the United States. Go to tncidercompany.com, tncidercompany.com. All of our sponsors are right below. Support them. That is why we're here.